If you're trying to get your ex back right now, then there's a very high chance you're making a specific mistake that's actually pushing them further away. And the worst part is that this mistake feels like the right thing to do. But in reality, it kills attraction instantly, and it makes you look weak without you even noticing. In my 15 years of breakup coaching, I've noticed one major difference between the people who successfully get their ex back and the people who end up pushing their ex even further away. Now, the people who fail are almost always applying hidden pressure, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Now, here's why this destroys your chances. Number one is you're pushing them in the wrong direction. When your ex is unsure about what they want, they're looking for signs, tiny clues that help them decide whether getting back together is the right move or whether they should move on. And the truth is, most of the time, they don't know yet. They're still sorting through their own emotions. So when you put even a little pressure on them, often without even realizing it, you're giving them a very easy escape route. It becomes, I'm not sure what I want, but my ex is really pushing for clarity, so I guess choosing freedom feels safer than being rushed. And pressure doesn't speed up their decision, it just pushes them towards the door. And secondly, you're making the decision for them. If you want someone to choose you, they need to feel like it's their idea. But when you push your ex in a specific direction, you make it feel like the decision has already been made by you. It comes across like your choice is the only one that matters, and they're expected just to go along with it. And even if they were open to reconnecting, this kills their sense of agency. Most people will push back just to regain control, even if pulling away isn't what they actually want. Your ex really needs to feel like they have a say. If they don't, their natural reaction is to create distance just so they can breathe again. And thirdly, you're turning something fun into something stressful. Reconnecting with an ex is supposed to feel good. It's supposed to bring back warmth, chemistry, familiarity. But the second you start applying pressure, you drain all the joy out of it. Suddenly, every interaction feels like a test. Every conversation feels like a decision point. And spending time together stops being fun and starts feeling heavy. And I've seen countless people ruin their chances by treating every moment with their ex like a job interview. Constantly wondering, are we getting back together or am I losing them forever? And when you carry that mindset, your ex feels it and they pull away to avoid the tension. Now, remember, these behaviors are incredibly subtle. Most people don't realize they're putting pressure on their ex until it's too late. So now that you know how that pressure shows up, let's talk about the specific mistakes that create that pressure and how to avoid making them before they push your ex even further away. And if you've already made some of these mistakes, don't panic, because later on I'm going to show you exactly how to take that pressure off and rebuild attraction before the window closes. Now, like I said, these mistakes are subtle and most people don't realize they're doing them. You might just think you're, being nice or staying connected, but to your ex, it feels like you're boxing them in. So mistake number one is communicating too much. Everyone knows the saying, communication is key. And yes, of course, that's true in a healthy relationship, but you're not in a relationship right now. You're in what I call attraction mode. And in attraction mode, mystery is almost always more powerful than communication. The real problem is that most people use communication to soothe their own anxiety. You haven't heard from your ex, so you reach out. Maybe you send a meme, a just checking in, or some random excuse to stay on their radar. And when they reply, you feel relief. You think, okay, good, they don't hate me. But while you feel relief, your ex feels obligation. Every time their phone buzzes with your name, they have to make a choice. Do I ignore this and feel guilty, or reply and risk sending the wrong signal? And that moment of hesitation creates a tiny spike of resentment. Right now, your ex is viewing you through what I call the negative filter. After a breakup, they subconsciously associate you with stress, guilt, conflict, probably emotional heaviness. So every time you reach out, you're not rebuilding the spark. You're reinforcing that negative association. You're teaching them that talking to you is stressful rather than enjoyable. And this is why they need serious space to reach what psychologists call an emotionally neutral state. Silence allows that emotional intensity of the breakup to start to fade. The negative memories soften, and the positive ones, the inside jokes, the comfort, the intimacy, start to float back to the surface. But that only happens if you step back long enough for them to feel your absence. When it comes to early post-breakup attraction, silence really does do the heavy lifting. And the second mistake is being too affectionate. Now, this is another classic trap. When your ex pulls away, of course your instinct is to compensate by giving them more affection. You tell them how much you miss them, you over-compliment them, or you get overly touchy when you see them. Now, you're doing it because you hope that it will remind them how good things used to be. But really, it honestly usually does the opposite. Instead of triggering nostalgia, it highlights the fact that the connection is broken. Affection is the result of a strong bond, not the cause of it. So when you pour on affection after a breakup, it feels, unearned, out of place. Now, to your ex, it often reads as fake, as needy, or even manipulative. Like you're trying to, love bomb them into forgetting why things fell apart. And whether it's true or not, it makes you look like you're in denial. Now, that doesn't mean you should be cold or robotic. If you see them, you can be warm. But the key is to be selective. Affection should feel like a reward rather than a desperation tactic. Just a well-timed compliment can be incredibly powerful, but only if you pull back afterwards. So be friendly, be grounded, be confident, but don't smother them. Show your ex that you still have that warmth inside of you, but they no longer get automatic access to it. That combination of warmth and boundaries is unbelievably attractive, and it signals confidence, emotional stability, and respect, both for yourself and for the breakup itself. And confidence, of course, is the opposite of pressure. All right, mistake number 3 is making ultimatums. Now, ultimatums are really the nuclear option, and one of the fastest ways to ruin your chances permanently. Now, obviously, I'm talking about statements like, if you don't know what you want by now, then you don't care about me. Or, I need an answer by Friday, or choose right now. And I do really, truly, completely understand why people get to this point. Because living in limbo is torture. You wake up every day not knowing where you stand. And that uncertainty creates anxiety, and ultimatums feel like a way to actually finally get clarity. You think, at least now I'll know the truth. But the problem is, when you force an ex to make a decision before they're ready, the answer is almost always going to be no. By pushing for a decision, you're backing them into a corner. And psychologically, humans hate feeling trapped. Even if your ex was, 50-50 about getting back together, the moment you demand a choice, they choose freedom, just to prove that you don't control them. You're hoping for a realization of love, but really you're just triggering a rebellion. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, Brad, they've been stringing me along for months. I have to draw a line somewhere. And yes, there's a huge difference between setting a boundary and issuing an ultimatum. So if your situation is complicated, maybe friends with benefits, hot and cold treatment, mixed signals, that requires a very specific strategy. Now, I can't break down every variation in a general video like this, but if you are stuck in that toxic loop, please reach out to me directly at breakupbrad.com/coaching. Tell me what's going on with your situation, and I'll help you script exactly what to say to set those boundaries without blowing up the connection. But for everyone else, you really need to be strong enough to sit with that uncertainty just for a little while longer. All right, mistake number 4 is being too available. Now, this mistake usually happens the moment no contact ends. So you get that first text, maybe just a simple hey, and instantly you drop everything. You reply in seconds, cancel plans. You show them without saying a word that reconnecting with them is your number one priority. Now, you probably think that you're being responsive, but to your ex, this signals low value. It goes back to the principle of scarcity. We value things that are rare, not things that are available 24/7. And when you make yourself instantly accessible, you're demonstrating that you really have nothing else going on. It subconsciously tells your ex, I'm still here whenever you want me. And when someone feels that they can have you at any time, then they feel zero urgency to commit. They feel like they can just keep you on the back burner forever. So instead, keep your life moving. Stick to your plans. Maintain your routine. If your ex wants to hang out on a Tuesday, but you already have, to go to the gym, or you've got plans with a friend, just tell them you're busy and suggest Thursday instead. It sounds counterintuitive, but saying no in a calm and confident way shows that you have a life that they may actually want to be part of again. Now, being less available it's not a game. It's a sign that your life doesn't revolve around them. And that is honestly extremely attractive. And mistake number 5 is rushing the process. Now, this last one isn't about what you say, it's about the energy that you bring. So if you do end up getting back together, you're going to have all the time in the world to rebuild that closeness. But right now, you probably feel like you need them back today. You feel that urgency in your chest and you want answers immediately. But that feeling is not love. It's fear. You're afraid of losing them. You're afraid of being replaced. Afraid the window is closing. And fear makes you push too hard, too fast. And the problem is that anxiety is contagious. When you rush the intimacy or rush the labels or rush the where is this going conversation, your ex can feel that pressure. You turn the reconnection into a pressure cooker instead of something just light and enjoyable. You need to remember, attraction grows in space. Your ex needs that time away from you to wonder what you're doing. They need to imagine being with you again. And if you're constantly closing the gap, you never give the attraction enough air to breathe. So slow down, take your time. Showing them that you're not in a rush is one of the strongest signals of confidence that you can send. And confidence is one of those things that's going to pull your ex back faster than really almost anything else. Now, like I said earlier, if you've already made some of these mistakes, do not panic. You haven't ruined anything. The good news is that pressure fades really quickly once you stop applying it. All you need to do is create a little space so your ex can relax, can reset, and to get back into that neutral emotional state. So take a week or two to let the heat die down. Give them room to breathe and room to wonder what you're doing. That pause alone can honestly undo a surprising amount of damage because it gives them the chance to feel relief instead of pressure when they think about you. And from there, your job isn't to win them back all at once. Your job is just to simply move forward in a calmer, more mindful way. Focus on being present, focus on making your interactions light, easy, pressure-free, and fun. Don't overwhelm them with affection or intensity. Instead, make them feel safe around you again. Safety, comfort, and emotional stability are what rebuild attraction after pressure has pushed it down. Now, one of the best ways to do this is with something that I call the mirror technique. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it instantly removes pressure from your conversations. Now, I break this whole thing down in a recent video, which you can find linked in the description below and up here on the screen here on the pop-up. So definitely check that out if you want a clear roadmap for your next steps. And of course, if your situation is complicated or you want some personalized guidance, I'd be happy to work with you directly. Just go to breakupbrad.com/coaching. Tell me what's going on. We'll build a plan together that gives you the best possible chance of getting your ex back. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, please, and subscribe for a new video every week. Best of luck, and see you in the next one.